Numbers 21. And when King Arad the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south, heard that Israel came by the way of the spies, then he fought against Israel and took some of them prisoner. And Israel vowed a vow unto the Lord, and said, If thou wilt indeed deliver this people into my hand, then will I utterly destroy their cities. And the Lord hearkened to the voice of Israel, and delivered up the Canaanites, and they utterly destroyed them in their cities. And he called the name of the place Hormah. And they journeyed from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea, to compass the land Edom, and the soul of the people was much discouraged because of the way. And the people spake against God and against Moses, Wherefore have ye brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our soul loatheth light bread. And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against thee. Pray unto the Lord that he take away the serpents from us. And Moses prayed for the people. And the Lord said unto Moses, Make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole, and it shall come to pass that every one that is bitten, when he looketh on it, shall live. And Moses made a serpent of brass, and put it upon a pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. And the children of Israel set forward and pitched in Oboth. And they journeyed from Oboth and pitched in Ijeberam and the wilderness, which is before Moab, toward the sun rising. From thence they removed and pitched in the valley of Zered. From thence they removed and pitched on the other side of Arnon, which is in the wilderness that cometh out of the coasts of the Amorites. For Arnon is the border of Moab between Moab and the Amorites. Wherefore it is said in the book of the wars of the Lord, what he did in the Red Sea and in the brooks of Arnon, and at the stream of the brooks that goeth down to the dwelling of Ar, and lieth upon the border of Moab. And from thence they went to Beer. This is the well whereof the Lord spake unto Moses, Gather the people together, and I will give them water. Then Israel sang this song, Spring up, O well, sing ye unto it. The princes digged the well, the nobles of the people digged it, by the direction of the lawgiver, with their staves. And from the wilderness they went to Mattanah, and from Mattanah to Nahaliel, and from Nahaliel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth in the valley, that is in the country of Moab, to the top of Pisgah, which looked toward Jeshimon. And Israel sent messengers unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, Let me pass through thy land. We will not turn into the fields or into the vineyards. We will not drink of the waters of the well, but we will go by the king's highway until we be past thy borders. And Sihon would not suffer Israel to pass through his border, but Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel in the wilderness. And he came to Jahaz and fought against Israel. And Israel smote him with the edge of the sword, and possessed his land from Arnon unto Jabbok, even unto the children of Ammon, for the border of the children of Ammon was strong. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites, in Heshbon and in all the villages thereof. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and taken all his land out of his hand, even unto Arnon. Wherefore they that speak in Proverbs say, Come into Heshbon, let the city of Sihon be built and prepared. For there is a fire gone out of Heshbon, a flame from the city of Sihon. It hath consumed Ar of Moab, and the lords of the high places of Arnon. Woe to thee, Moab, thou art undone. O people of Chemosh, he hath given his sons that escaped and his daughters into captivity unto Sihon, king of the Amorites. We have shot at them. Heshbon is perished even unto Dibon, and we have laid them waste even unto Nophah, which reached unto Medeba. Thus Israel dwelt in the land of the Amorites. And Moses sent a spy unto Jazer, and they took the villages thereof, and drove out the Amorites that were there. And they turned and went up by the way of Bashan, and Og the king of Bashan went out against them, and all his people, to the battle of Edrei. And the Lord said unto Moses, Fear him not, for I have delivered him into thy hand, and all his people, and his land, and thou shalt do to them as thou didst unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, which dwelt at Heshbon. So they smote him, and his sons, and all his people, until there were none left him alive, and they possessed his land. There is a little bit of commentary left over here from chapter 20, and it basically concerns Aaron. Well, first off, there is 38 years that passes between the time they're in Kadesh and when they ask the Edomites if they can go through on the King's Highway. And Moses doesn't write anything about that 38 years. Nothing at all. But it's 38 years later. All the people who were 20 years of age and over at the time that rebelled against God, they've all died. So God said their carcasses rotted in the wilderness. And they're now ready to go in. And because they're ready to go in is also the time that Aaron and Moses are appointed to die, because they're not going to go in. And so the priesthood of Aaron is transferred from Aaron to his oldest living son, Eleazar. They go up into Mount Hor, and Moses, who has the authority to do this, and this is not a punishment to Aaron, takes off the priestly garments off of Aaron and transfers them and the authority to act as the priest into Eleazar. And Moses and Eleazar come down, and Aaron dies. This is not a disgrace. This is not a punishment to Aaron. He had honorably served, and it was his time to go home to Heavenly Father. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, what was the King's Highway? The King's Highway was generally speaking, we believe, a military road, a broad, well-built military road that went all the way from a Red Sea all the way up to Syria. And it was in the highlands, in the mountains, and would have been the simplest, easiest, fastest, also maybe in some ways the toughest, most direct route, because it wouldn't have taken them through any of the farmland or anything else. It would have been the one that was least likely to cause anybody any harm. And the Edomites and everybody else basically said, no, don't want you to travel. The brazen serpent. The people had an opportunity there to learn some very, very simple lesson. And that was, if they'd been bitten, everybody that was bitten was going to die. All they had to do to save themselves was look on the brazen serpent and they would live. The poison would have no effect on them. What that was look unto God, look unto Jesus. It is the simpleness and the easiness of the way. And there were people who decided it was simply too easy and died. And that was the problem with Israel all along. They had the very simple, easy thing. Look to God, follow God. It is simple. Just do what you're told. Heavenly Father will look after you. He'll fight your battles. He'll help you doing everything you need to do. This is the way. Can't be much simpler.